Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic Hypersonic.
I'm Barry P. Cook, and I'm here to talk to you about the season 4 finale of The Boys. It was called season 4 finale, as far as I can tell. And as it starts, VNN reports that A-Train's movie is canceled for the tax write-off, as the presidential election is being certified in Congress. Mother's Milk pushes Frenchie to finish making the virus. Fake Starlight puts on a super fancy dress and proposes to Huey. And he proposes back with a ring, and they get engaged before engaging in coitus, after which she notices her finger is damaged where she put the ring on, and scurries off supposedly to get champagne. Butcher has a conversation with Joe, who tells him that Homelander has won and that he can help him get his strength back and get out of the hospital where he currently is after passing out at the end of last week's episode, if he'll go along with the Soup genocide plan. Homelander finds Ryan's picture of himself with Butcher and Becca and goes a bit nuclear, before Ryan comes in and Homelander orders him to come to him, saying he's his father, not Butcher, but Ryan declines. Fake Starlight visits Starlight to recharge her mimic and tells her what she's been up to with Huey and about her first ever shift, as well as that she thinks the Soups are all self-righteous asses. Huey calls Butcher needing his help to stop the killing of the president, but he's in no shape to help. And he asks Huey to go to a particular steakhouse for him, as well as to tell the boys he's sorry, before saying goodbye and hanging up, clearly resigned to his own death. Firecracker has Homelander and Vicky, the vice president-elect, on her show, and confronts Vicky about the president-elect's plan to enact anti-Soup legislation, and when she denies it, Homelander outs her as a Soup by blasting her with his laser eyes, though I don't know why he does this, which she doesn't die from, and which she's not at all pleased about. Mother's Milk calls Huey and tells him to release the info on Vicky when the virus isn't ready, after the vote is certified, but all the information's been erased. Ryan visits Butcher in the hospital, and Butcher advises him to go to ground with Grace, but he resists, as Joe urges Butcher to kill Ryan before he and Ryan play a game of Connect 4. Homelander meets with Firecracker, Deep, and Noir to explain how they're going to install Vicky as president, while Firecracker exhibits signs of being unwell. And he orders the team to eliminate a bunch of people at Vought with dirt on them, including Ashley. And sensing this, Ashley injects herself with V from Homelander's stash and begins to transform into kind of a beastly thing, which we don't really get a good look at. Anyway, Mother's Milk takes fake Starlight, Huey, and Kimiko to protect the president and to look out for the Shifter, who Huey realizes is overly warm, like the Shapeshifter was when they first found her, which he tells Mother's Milk just before the Shapeshifter figures out that she's been made and goes on the attack, resulting in a firefight and fisticuffs between her and Kimiko, who is temporarily killed. Real Starlight then shows up after having escaped and fights the Shifter, getting her in a headlock and seemingly killing her. Vicky calls Homelander upset that the Shapeshifter failed to kill the president, and he tells her he'll make her president if he has to kill the president himself, and that she will obey him fully or he'll torture her daughter. Starlight confronts Huey about not knowing the Shifter wasn't her, but he reveals that it came to him over time because of how she didn't have Starlight's quirks, which he loves. Vicky calls Huey, saying she'll resign so as not to be an imprisoned puppet with an endangered child if he gets her and her daughter out. Firecracker, still sick, kills a guy on Homelander's hit list with a gun, and Deep kills another with a punch through the skull, as Noir kills other Ashley, even though she's not on the list. Frenchie completes the virus, and Huey tries to get the team to go along with his plan to bring Vicky in alive, and Mother's Milk agrees that it's a good plan, which gets Starlight on board, but they also keep their options open with the virus. Starlight and Huey reconcile as she tells him he needs to get tested for everything so she won't get Shifter syphilis. Kimiko and Frenchie get back together when she confesses that she never not wanted him. Grace tells Ryan about all the crap Homelander has done, including raping Becca, and Butcher tells Ryan he needs to be trained to kill Homelander, which unsettles him. But he can't leave because he, Grace, and Butcher are in a deep, secure CIA facility, but he pushes Grace out of the way, killing her, causing Joe to give Butcher a serious look. Huey brings Vicky and Zoe in, whereupon she agrees to help them get Homelander, but Butcher shows up, having taken some V, apparently, and rips Vicky in half with massive tentacles that shoot out of his chest before leaving the gang stunned. Homelander's crying in his apartment when he gets the news about Vicky, and a recording is released of the president talking about ordering Vicky killed. Sage shows up there and says it was all in her plan, as the Speaker of the House calls Homelander to pledge his allegiance to Homelander, while Sage says she did all of it because it was fun. The Speaker, now president, declares martial law and installs a soup militia with Homelander, who vows to make America safe again, in command of it. Huey, Mother's Milk, Amico, and Frenchie are rounded up by some of Homelander's deputized super people, including the one guy with the very large spaduka and the two kids from Gen V. But Starlight evades capture by regaining her abilities and flying away. Butcher leaves town with his buddy Joe mentally in tow, apparently back on a V kick. The new president takes Homelander to see a sleep tank inhabiting Soldier Boy, who, as the new president, he just learned of the location of. And that's where the episode in the season ended. Soldier Boy, of course, being Homelander's biological father. So I did like this episode. I was glad to see that Starlight got out of captivity and made it back to Huey, and that everything was resolved between them, at least up until the end, because I thought they were going to maybe carry that over into next season, and I would have hated that. So I'm glad that didn't happen. Though, of course, now they've carried over that she's on the run and he's locked up, which is not great, but at least that happened after they had reconciled and were in a good place. So I'm happy about that. I was glad that Butcher didn't die, though I'm not thrilled that he's back on V, because ultimately it's not good for him. And, I don't know why he had to kill Vicky. She was going to resign. They weren't going to be in any different a position with her dead than with her resigned. So it was just something that he did seemingly out of revenge or just to be a dick, which, I don't guess would normally be an issue, except he left her child motherless. So, like, that doesn't comport with, he cares about Ryan and everything and wanted him to be taken care of. Why would he leave this other child not only motherless, but parentless? I guess because she's a soup too, but so is Ryan. So, that didn't make any sense. So that was kind of weird. Like, is he turning evil now? Like, he's always been, a bastard, but is he now evil? Like, what's up with that? And how come he managed to get away? That's weird. Like, they didn't get him, they got everybody else. Of course, I liked all the gore. That's always great when, the gore, people just get killed really viciously. It's crazy. So I liked that. I liked that Frenchie and Kamiko got back together. I think that had to happen. That was really awesome. So I'm happy about that. And I really liked Erin Moriarty's performance in this episode as the shapeshifter pretending to be Starlight. She has a really good scene where she confronts Starlight about all of her, I guess, piousness or her perceived piousness. And she kind of taunts her about how she's been with Huey and stuff. And I thought Erin Moriarty did a really, really great job in that scene. And interestingly, as the shapeshifter, she looked better. Like, I don't want to dog on her appearance because it's not cool, but like, she messed her face up after the first couple seasons in real life, and she hasn't looked very good to me. But in this episode, she looked like her normal self from before the change as the shapeshifter, and almost looked that way playing Starlight in this episode. So I don't know what they did. Maybe it was makeup, maybe she had some corrective work done, but she looked a lot better in this episode, more like actual Starlight. So I really liked that. And, I kind of liked where the season ended. It's now at a really tense flexion point for the beginning of season 5 with a soup sympathetic president of the United States who is basically going to do whatever Homelander wants. And Homelander basically in charge of his own like secret police kind of thing, even though it's not very secret, which is just going to be bombastic next season. And, when the season starts, we have to figure out how the gang is going to get out of captivity. And, is it going to involve Starlight? So what's going to happen? Might they bring back Maeve? Could that happen? That would be cool. Like, where's Maeve? Through all this, she's a kick-ass person and she could come back and help like deal with all this stuff. So that would be cool. I would love the hell out of that. I would love to see Starlight in her costume again. Like, we kind of got to see it, but it wasn't really her. And I would love to see her with her powers back. Like, we got to see it right at the end. So I'd like to see her really use her powers. Next season, she did kick some ass, so that's cool, but she couldn't do any of her light powers. So I want to see that next season. But yeah, I think they set it up for all of that. And so that's really cool. There wasn't really anything I didn't like about this episode. I thought that the season was uneven. Some of the episodes spent too much time on stuff that I didn't think was very compelling. But these last few episodes have been different from that. They've been better. Everything has been compelling and worthwhile. So I've been happy with the last few episodes, and I'm happy with the season overall, and I am stoked for season 5. I can't wait. It's probably not going to come out for 2 years or something, but I will be there to check it out and to do my breakdown and review videos for the final season. For now, I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back with another video soon. Until I return, I wish you peace and long life.